The starship Horizon glided silently above the emerald clouds of Zareen 4, a planet known for its sprawling cities and strange alien customs. Captain Arik stood at the observation deck, his dark eyes tracing the twisting towers of the alien metropolis below. The city gleamed with soft golden light, reflecting the sun's rays in a way that seemed almost alive. Humans had visited many worlds, but something about Zareen 4 felt different. It was a world of precision, order, and control, a place where emotions seemed secondary, and duty came first. Lyra, an alien maid assigned to serve the human delegation, observed Captain Arik from across the room. She moved with flawless grace, her violet-hued skin shimmering faintly under the artificial lights. Every step she took was calculated, efficient, and deliberate. In her world, emotion was considered a distraction, a flaw. Every action was guided by logic, duty, and service. And yet something about this human stirred something unfamiliar within her. Arik turned from the window and noticed her standing silently near the entrance. "Ah, you must be Lyra," he said with a friendly smile. "I've heard a lot about you." Lyra inclined her head, her voice calm and even. "I am assigned to assist you, Captain. My function is to ensure your needs are met while on Zareen 4. Arik chuckled softly. "Well, that sounds serious. But I don't need just efficiency. I want to understand your world, too. Can you help with that?" Lyra tilted her head slightly, puzzled. Humans often spoke in ways that were more expressive than necessary. Their words carried emotions that she could not always decode. "I can provide knowledge and guidance," she replied cautiously. "Understanding your customs may be more complex than my programming allows." "Let's see about that," Arik said, gesturing for her to join him at the observation deck. They walked in silence for a while, Lyra following with precise steps. She watched Arik as he spoke quietly to himself, studying the city. He smiled at the patterns of traffic below, at the movement of citizens through their routines. He spoke to no one in particular, yet his words were full of warmth and curiosity. "You humans find beauty in things that seem random," Lyra observed after a pause. "Why do you focus on it?" Arik looked at her, intrigued. "Beauty, warmth, laughter. Those are ways we connect. We find meaning in moments that feel alive, even if they don't serve a purpose directly." Lyra considered this. In her culture, everything had a purpose. Every motion, every word, every thought was directed toward function or efficiency. The idea of seeking connection or emotion for its own sake was strange. Yet when she watched Arik, she could sense something compelling in his presence, a warmth that drew her attention. Over the next few days, Lyra observed the humans closely. Their crew was lively, full of laughter, jokes, and gestures that seemed minor but were deeply significant. A simple pat on the shoulder, a shared meal, a word of encouragement, each carried meaning. Lyra mimicked small gestures subtly, testing them on her own, and found them oddly satisfying. One evening, the human crew gathered in a common hall. They played games, shared stories, and laughed freely. Lyra stood at the edge, watching. One of the crew tripped over a table, spilling a drink, and instead of anger, the others laughed and helped him up. The warmth, the understanding, and the joy of the moment left Lyra unsettled. Her chest felt tight, a strange pressure she could not name. Captain Arik noticed her standing alone. He approached with a gentle smile. "Come join us, Lyra. You don't have to just observe." Lyra hesitated. To join was to expose herself to uncertainty, to unpredictability, the very things her culture warned against. But something inside urged her forward. She stepped into the circle awkwardly at first, then gradually with more confidence. As she interacted, she experienced laughter in a new way, not as a sound, but as a shared feeling. She realized humans expressed closeness and trust through these simple acts. Her fascination grew. This was not merely efficiency, it was a form of strength, a way to create bonds that could overcome fear, danger, and loneliness. Her duties with the humans continued, but each day, she found herself drawn more to their behaviors. She began to question the rigid rules of her world. Was it truly wrong to seek connection? Could she, a maid trained for perfection and obedience, allow herself to experience the depth of human closeness? The alien authorities soon noticed her unusual behavior. She smiled more freely, lingered longer in conversation, and subtly imitated human gestures. They called her attention, warning her against over-attachment. To them, humans were unpredictable and weak. Lyra, however, felt the opposite. She began to admire humans not for their strength in combat or intellect alone, but for their courage to be emotionally open, to care for one another despite the risks. One day, Captain Arik invited Lyra to explore the outskirts of the city with him. She agreed, curious about what more she could learn. They walked through narrow streets, observing markets, families, and street performers. Children ran past, laughing and playing games that had no purpose beyond enjoyment. Lyra watched, fascinated. "You see, Lyra," Arik said, pointing to the children, "humans grow through connection. We learn from each other, support each other, and sometimes make mistakes along the way. But it's all part of becoming stronger together." Lyra's mind raced. This concept was foreign yet thrilling. She remembered her lessons: efficiency, obedience, perfection. And now she felt the tug of something more. Something alive, unpredictable and irresistible. That evening, Lyra quietly followed Arik to a human gathering in one of the colony halls. The humans played, laughed, and shared stories of courage and teamwork. Lyra observed their bonds, noting the depth of trust and affection. She realized she wanted to understand it, to experience it fully, not as a duty, not as an order, but as a choice. Her fascination grew into desire, not of the kind her culture defined, but a longing to connect, to understand, and to embrace the warmth she had seen in humans. She realized she could not return to the rigid, controlled life of her previous existence. Something had changed within her. Lyra returned to her quarters, her mind alive with possibilities. She practiced small human gestures, testing them on herself. She smiled without reason, laughed at private thoughts, and began to speak with more warmth than before. Each act brought a spark of happiness she had never known. The alien authorities warned her again, noting her deviation from standard behavior. Lyra simply listened but did not respond. Their rules felt distant and unimportant compared to the emotional richness she had discovered. She had tasted something unique, something human, and she could not unlearn it. As she lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling, Lyra realized the truth. She desired to understand humans, to experience their closeness, and to learn from their courage, not because she was commanded, but because she wanted to. This was her choice, and it was exhilarating. In the quiet hours of the night, Lyra made a decision. She would continue to serve the humans, not merely as a maid, but as a companion, a learner, and a bridge between worlds. She would embrace the emotional depth she had witnessed and allow herself to grow beyond the confines of alien expectation. The starship hummed softly outside her window, carrying humans and aliens alike across the stars. Lyra felt a spark of anticipation. She did not know what the future held, but she knew one thing. She wanted more. More understanding, more connection, more of the human spirit that had awakened something deep within her. And so, the alien maid, who had once known only obedience and logic, stood at the threshold of a new journey. One where warmth, trust, laughter, and human courage would guide her steps. One where she would discover that connection was not weakness, it was strength. The stars shone bright above Zareen 4, and Lyra gazed at them with a sense of wonder she had never felt. Lyra woke to the soft hum of the starship horizon drifting above Zareen 4. The city below still shimmered in the early light, streets empty and calm. But Lyra was not calm. Her mind buzzed with thoughts of the humans she had observed, of their warmth, their laughter, and the courage that flowed naturally from their bonds. She had tasted a small part of what it meant to connect with them, and she wanted more. Captain Arik was already up, preparing for the day's mission. He noticed her quietly standing near the observation deck. "Good morning, Lyra," he said with a smile. "Sleep well?" Lyra inclined her head. "Yes, Captain, I thought about yesterday, about how humans interact with each other." Arik nodded. "I'm glad. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but our strength comes from trust and care. That is what makes us resilient." Lyra's violet eyes glimmered. "I desire to understand that more, not only by observing, but by participating." Arik's smile widened. "Then let's begin. Today you will see humans in action in a situation that tests their courage, their cooperation, and their trust." The mission was simple in plan, but challenging in execution. A neighboring settlement had reported a sudden malfunction in its environmental systems, endangering the lives of hundreds. Arik's crew had been sent to assist. Lyra accompanied them. Though she felt an unusual flutter of anticipation, the moment they arrived, chaos was apparent. Alien machinery hummed erratically and residents were frightened. Humans quickly organized a plan. Arik delegated tasks and the crew responded with precision. But unlike the alien protocols, they added care and encouragement at every step. Lyra watched carefully. She saw humans comfort each other when mistakes were made, praise efforts openly, and share responsibilities willingly. She observed that their focus was not only on completing the task, but on maintaining trust and morale. This was a concept entirely foreign to her. Efficiency alone had never inspired anyone. But here, human care fueled strength. A sudden alarm blared, signaling a critical failure in the environmental controls. A massive pressure valve was leaking, and it could cause a catastrophic collapse. Arik gestured quickly. "We need volunteers to secure the valve. Lyra, can you assist?" Lyra hesitated. This was dangerous. Her culture emphasized safety, rules, and calculated risk. But she felt an unfamiliar pull, an urge to act, to participate, to connect. She nodded. "I will assist, Captain." The humans moved with coordinated steps, offering guidance, reassurance, and support at every turn. Lyra followed their instructions, using her alien precision to manipulate the machinery with skill. As the pressure valve hissed and trembled, she felt a surge of something new, confidence born from trust, not orders. A human crew member slipped near the valve, losing balance. Without thinking, Lyra reached out and stabilized him. The human smiled at her, gratitude clear in his eyes. Lyra felt a warmth she had never experienced. Connection through action, through care. Together they stabilized the system. Residents cheered, humans congratulated each other, and Lyra realized she had felt true human camaraderie for the first time. This was not observation, this was experience. She had participated fully in the human way. Later, back on the ship, Arik spoke with her privately. "Lyra, today you demonstrated something remarkable. You combined your precision and skill with empathy and trust. That is human strength. You see, it's not just about being capable. It's about using your abilities for others and trusting them to do the same for you." Lyra's thoughts raced. She understood intellectually, but now she felt it. She felt the pride of contributing, the warmth of connection, and the exhilaration of shared success. Her longing to understand humans had deepened. She no longer wanted to just mimic them. She wanted to truly live their way of connection, courage, and trust. In the following days, Lyra continued her growth. She shared meals with the humans, laughed at jokes she did not fully understand at first, and even offered advice during minor crises. Each action strengthened her bonds with them and, in turn, strengthened herself. The alien authorities took notice. Reports came of Lyra's unusual behavior, her willingness to participate in human activities, her visible emotional expressions, and her open laughter. Some warned of consequences, but Lyra no longer feared their judgment. She had tasted a deeper strength, one that came from openness, empathy, and courage, and she could not abandon it. A new challenge soon arrived. A rogue environmental storm threatened a remote colony. Humans and Lyra were dispatched to evacuate residents and stabilize critical systems. The storm was unlike anything Lyra had faced. Winds tore at the ship, machinery failed, and panic threatened to take hold. Humans moved swiftly, calmly, and with care. They encouraged frightened residents, reassured each other, and made split-second decisions that saved lives. Lyra followed, contributing her unique alien abilities to navigate obstacles, repair systems, and guide humans through the chaos. She felt an unfamiliar thrill, fear mixed with excitement, but she trusted the humans and in turn allowed herself to act bravely. During the storm, a young human technician became trapped under debris. Lyra moved without hesitation, lifting the heavy wreckage using her strength and careful control. She pulled him to safety and he looked at her with wide eyes. You saved me!" he exclaimed. Lyra felt a swell of emotion, pride, relief, and connection. She smiled, realizing that saving him was not just an act of duty. It was an act of trust, compassion, and courage, the very qualities she had sought to understand. After the storm subsided, humans and aliens alike praised her efforts. For the first time, she felt truly recognized, not merely as a skilled servant, but as a partner, a friend, and a being capable of strength through empathy. Captain Arik approached her as the sun rose over the battered colony. "Lyra, you've come far. You've embraced more than duty. You've embraced connection, courage, and human strength. You are no longer just observing. You are part of us. Lyra's eyes glimmered. I understand now, Captain. Human strength is not only in action, but in connection. In trust, in care, in courage shared, I desire to continue learning this way. Auric nodded, a proud smile on his face. Then we will continue together. You will see more, learn more, and grow more. That is what humans do. We learn, adapt, and rise stronger through connection. In the following weeks, Lyra's transformation became evident. She laughed more freely, spoke with warmth, and acted with both logic and empathy. She no longer feared emotional openness. She embraced it as a source of strength. Humans and aliens alike saw the change and began to appreciate the value of emotional courage. Lyra found joy in simple things, sharing meals, exchanging stories, comforting a frightened child, or celebrating small victories. Each moment reinforced her understanding that human connection was not weakness. It was a unique and powerful strength. One evening, as the crew gathered for a quiet meal, Lyra noticed how humans looked out for one another. One crew member helped another adjust their equipment. Another offered a comforting word to someone who had struggled. Laughter echoed, not forced but genuine. Lyra felt a warmth in her chest and realized she had become part of this web of trust and care. Captain Auric caught her gaze across the table and smiled. You've become one of us, Lyra. Not by command, not by orders, but by choice. You've embraced human courage and connection. That is the greatest achievement of all. Lyra smiled back, her heart lighter than it had ever been. She had come to Zareen 4 as a maid, trained in logic and precision, tasked with service. But she had discovered something extraordinary. Humans were not fragile or weak. They were resilient, courageous, and strong in ways she had never imagined. And by embracing their way, she had become stronger too. The stars shone brightly above Zareen 4, the planet's cities twinkling like constellations below. Lyra stood on the observation deck side by side with Captain Auric and felt a sense of belonging she had never known. She had learned the meaning of trust, connection, and courage. She had embraced the human spirit, and it had awakened something profound within her. For the first time, she realized that true strength was not measured by efficiency or obedience alone, but by the capacity to care, to connect, and to act with courage in the service of others. Lyra smiled, a genuine expression of warmth and joy, and felt ready for whatever adventures the stars might hold next. And so, the alien maid who had once known only duty and logic had discovered a new path, one of empathy, courage, and human connection. She had chosen to embrace it fully, and in doing so she had become something more than she had ever imagined. She had become a bridge between worlds, a learner of human strength, and a living testament to the power of connection. The Horizon prepared for its next mission, carrying humans and aliens alike across the galaxy. Lyra stood beside them, no longer merely an observer, but a participant, a friend, and a symbol of what could happen when the warmth and courage of humanity touched even the most logical hearts. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, Lyra felt a thrill of anticipation. She had discovered the true meaning of connection, and she knew that this journey had only just begun.